YouTube, what is up, y'all? Welcome to another one. We're here to hang out and have fun and all that good stuff. This one's gonna be all about what, Anderson?
Star Wars.
That's right. We're gonna be talking Star Wars today. If you couldn't tell by the title or the description, because some of y'all don't read that, y'all just like to get into the movie and sit down and grab your popcorn and watch and have your drink or your flask fall on the floor in the middle of the quiet room, and you try not to laugh. But make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you stay up to date on all things TGB.
Are we switching roles?
Drop a comment. Yes.
Yeah.
Drop a comment down below letting us know what you'd like to see us talk about in the future, and drop this video a like so that way we know you like the Star Wars content and what we're doing. But
yeah, give a like, flashbang your friends. Who knows?
Flashbang your friends.
Just be casually sitting there playing poker, then just flashbang.
hang on. I saw a TikTok. This chick was doing a cosplay, and apparently she needed a flashbang for her cosplay.
What kind of cosplay was that?
Flashbang. She had it in her hand, and she was like talking about it on the camera. She's like, "It's so real. Look at this thing. Like, it's crazy." Pulls the pin. Like, look, boom, and I mean, it goes off in her hand. And you just see the camera stop.
Jesus.
Yeah, dude.
Damn.
You got that Modern Warfare 2 ringing going in your ears. Beep.
That shit still haunts you to this day.
I still hear it every night. Every night.
Every night I go to sleep, I just reimagine myself in the fucking airport graveyard.
Yeah.
Getting flashbanged to death.
Scrapyard, yeah.
But let's talk Star Wars. With that, where would we like to begin?
Where it all began.
God damn it.
A long, long time ago. In a galaxy far away.
This shit was almost as bad as a THX effect in Pixar movies. God.
I was going to wear my helmet, but I realized it won't fit because I can't have these on.
I haven't hooked my Bluetooth adapter back up, and I don't know where my AirPods are at the moment. So,
yeah. I truly thought about it. Because I also have Vader. You and I both have Vader.
Yeah.
You have Luke, and I have Poe.
Right there.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, those people.
You should fire those lightsabers up for this episode specifically.
They're dead. I meant to, and I totally forgot. Well, maybe hang on. Oh yeah, no, those things are dead. Those things
are dead, brother.
They're so them things been deceased. You got rigor mortis set in on them.
God.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead, and I would say no better place to start than the beginning. The only problem with Star Wars, though, is you could technically make a claim that there's 3 separate beginnings.
Yeah.
Definitely 2.
If we're talking chronological, like timeline order, then we're going back to what, Solo or
chronologically? No, if chronologically you go back to Phantom Menace. Oh no.
I'm talking
Rogue was after.
Sorry, not chronological, like in real time is what I mean to say.
Oh, you mean like as in movie time?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it'd be Solo.
I think it would be.
Yes. Yeah, it would be Solo. It would be.
Hey, Gary and Chad, what's going on, dude?
In real time, you go back. I think you go back when the movies were released. It's New Hope, I believe.
Wait, no. It wouldn't be Solo. It would still be Phantom Menace.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you're right.
Because Solo and everything takes place after Phantom, like after the prequels.
Okay, but would Solo still be before Attack of the Clones or whatever it was?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, because Han Solo is just a little bit older than Luke, and so then he would have been born by episode 3. technically, or like, you know, or like 2 or 3 somewhere in there.
Okay, so if you were to watch this all in chronological order, you would watch it as Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, the Clone Wars series, the Sith.
My internet just went down for a second. Hang on.
Oh yeah, we see you're frozen.
All right, am I back?
Yeah.
Am I moving?
Back, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
You moving.
quick little blip. All right, start that again.
All right,
Sorry.
we good?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. The Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, the Clone Wars series with the animated series, Revenge of the Sith, Solo, Star Wars Rebels, which is another animated series, Rogue One, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Mando, or The Mandalorian for those of you out there who are casuals, Star Wars Resistance, and then The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker.
Gotcha.
Yep.
See, like the original 3 just came out so long ago. I just assumed that, like,
Yeah.
you know, Han Solo was like way older. But
At least the new 3 are where they belong, last place.
Well, we can get into that conversation if you want. I have no problem at all. Ugh. Well, where would you like to start, though? Where would you like to start?
Also, what
Start with
my
the basics.
idea?
Let's build up.
Do we have a tier list that we can get? Because what I was thinking is like rank them,
shit.
but then I thought that's what, and then like as we're ranking them, discuss them, because there's not as many as the Marvel ones, right? So we don't need 2 parts for this. Because we're talking movies, we're not talking series. We're not doing like Clone Wars and stuff like that.
And everything like that.
While you're looking that up, Kate had to hit me with the nerdy talk. She pushed up her glasses as far as they could go, saying not to be nerdy. Sorry, too bad.
Which you gonna be nerdy.
But rigor sets in about 2 hours after death and dissipates about 24 hours after that. So if they have rigor, they haven't been dead very long.
All right, mortician.
All right. Thanks for the knowledge. I was just trying to make a funny joke. Bro. She just came out.
Don't.
I have a much more solid desk now, so I don't feel bad doing that.
We talking about solid.
Yeah. Bro, this thing was heavy. It is 4 pieces, but they are I think it was probably 100 pounds for like the packaging.
It's cute.
I mean, compared to my other,
killed 3 men coming up the stairs.
Well, compared to my other one, which was, you know, like probably 16th inch, you know, laminate, and then like core supports. Like my mic was starting to, I thought I had secured, like, you know, kind of clamped around it good enough, but nope, it was starting to kind of dig in that area.
Hey, it's all good as long as it's not a glass desk.
No,
I hate them bitches.
Been and gone with that. One of my first desks, when Joe and I had our first apartment, was a glass desk, and it was dope at the time. But like, I'm like, no, never again.
Nah, I'm a gamer. I'm about to break this shit.
Yep. Well, that and like, you know, if I want to clamp things to it, you know, it's not really gonna
too hard and it breaks or cracks. Ugh.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Hey, we got one. Sweet. Watch this.
What I love about this one is it's a pre-made in the levels. Tell me when you're ready.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Grandmaster, Council Member, Master, Knight, Padawan, Youngling. So this is awesome. Younglings die.
I'm fully with it.
Oh man. Okay. Well, all this was in order just a second ago, but whatever. I'll just pick them out as we go. Okay. So.
Hey, real quick before you do, Kate resubbing for 5-month streak.
Hey.
Thank you. Where is it? Hey, I got it. First try. All right.
Good job.
Big.
All right, gents. We're going to start here with episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Am I going to be the only one that says Grandmaster?
I was going to go with Council Member.
The Phantom Menace, I'm going to piss a lot of people off, is my favorite Star Wars movie.
All right, Kate. I know it's been a while.
Oh, God.
But chill.
What happened?
Kate gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Want to know how many total she's gifted to this channel?
I'm gonna say 80.
Nope.
I'm gonna say 200.
Not quite that high. No.
Dang it.
Joe was close though.
80.
120.
No, it is an even number that ends in a 0. I'll give you that much of a hint.
90.
Yes, it is 90 gifted subs, which is just absolutely insane. And we honestly can't thank you enough for your support. So, like, can we get some claps in chat for Kate?
God, just got back from Kate vacation, just
Yeah.
blowing it up.
Kate went and got her snoo on vacation, and she's feeling great now. She's like, I'm gonna make it rain on you real quick.
Yep.
I feel good.
So quick shout out to Sword Welder, Renzilla, Tex-Mex Racer, Blake the Man with a Plan, and Dark Magician Chaos Girl for all getting resubs.
Hell yeah. Welcome back, y'all. Welcome to the party.
Chaos Girl.
And this is a great time to say to YouTube, hey, if you ever want to hang out at the live show, come follow us. We're here Sunday nights doing the podcast, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. Great time. You don't have to subscribe, but if you want to, it does help us out because every single penny goes to where, Sam?
You.
That's right. Back to all of you. So, all right.
I really wanted to say
Yeah.
me just to be a shitter, but I was like, nah, let's
To my
not do
bank
that.
account to
Yeah.
pay off my crippling debt.
Yep. Yeah, Kate's like, glory, glory. What a hell of a way to die.
Jesus.
Yes. All right.
All right. So you said you were going to piss a lot of people off saying that
Yep.
Phantom Menace is your
Episode 1
favorite
is
movie.
my favorite movie of all the Star Wars movies. I'd put it there. Grandmaster, 100%.
I can concede to Grandmaster.
And can we just talk about Duel of Fates, Darth Maul,
That's
Qui-Gon, like all of it except for Jar Jar, and like was Jar Jar was.
Jar Jar was the most annoying part of that whole fucking movie.
I feel like if they had done like a less annoying voice, it would have been a little better. But like, so that's kind of so that's my only kind of gripe to it. But everything else is all just flawless, and I love every second of it.
So I have a working theory, and of course it never was confirmed because they never went back to do anything on that. I have a working theory that Jar Jar was actually a Sith in training.
I've seen so much fan art and stuff of that.
Please continue on this because I'm delighted to hear.
Jar Jar, when he shows up out of the blue completely. He's exiled from his land, so he's a individual all on his own. He rapidly ended up on the council. He went from being exiled to literally being on the Republic Council for the Gungans, working hand in hand with who?
Oh, are you asking us? Okay.
Yes, it was a question, but I was answering for you.
Gotcha. Well, I wasn't sure if it was like one that you were going to say dramatically or something.
Jar Jar is a Sith sleeper agent. I'm with it.
Yeah.
Of course, it never was confirmed. It was never brought into canon, but I had a working theory in that time that he definitely was because he kept showing up at the worst of times, but he never got like put in the spotlight. So if they had done a spinoff on that, that'd been great. But I personally loved Jar Jar. I thought Jar Jar added a bit of comedic value. It was stupid comedy, which is my kind of comedy. But I know a lot of people hate him. Personally, I loved him. I loved it.
Honestly, there's a spinoff with Jar Jar just like in a cloak with a red lightsaber being like, Misa gonna bring you to death. I'd be fine with it.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
I just need them to retcon the voice and then I'm good. Like that's just me personally. Cause like that, like I said, the acting and everything else like that, like his lines, I think were solid. It's just, the voice is just
squeal voice.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And chat, if you strongly agree or disagree, make sure drop it in the chat or in the comments.
That's right. But I fully agree with you. Duel of the Fates is besides the original, like the main theme to Star Wars, which everyone knows.
Yep.
And maybe Luke's song from Tatooine when he's staring at the sun. Those two songs, Duel of Fates is literally one of the most iconic songs in the entire franchise.
100%.
Like you hear bum, 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 bum. Like I actually had to learn that. Fun fact, I was a band geek in middle school, and I had to learn that. We played that for concert band for a competition and won.
Yeah, I've had to learn a couple of the Star Wars ones.
Yeah, I feel like if you just
it was
if you don't totally screw that up, then you just automatically win. You know, like if you do a halfway
it was
decent
epic,
rendition
too.
of Duel of Fates, like absolutely.
Yeah. And that, you know how the end of it's like bum, bum, ba-da-dum, and like it just drops. Like we all hit that so tight, and all of us were just there like, yeah.
But you can't like get up and cheer. You're just sitting there like, no, I am a soldier.
You're just sitting there vibrating like.
Nah,
But
I was just raging the whole time.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, you're in the back, like you're in the back from that dude in the meme, just
yeah,
basically. Because I remember back when I was in high school when we did that for the football games and stuff like that. I was on the big drum, so I was just like, boom.
Oh, you were big bass?
I played most of the positions because I did marching band and jazz band and concert band.
Were you in the pit or were you on the field?
Oh, I was on the field. I played
hell
pit
yeah.
too, but I was. Let me see. Let me count this back. Let's go through a little Anderson history real quick. My years in marching band, bass drum 1 through 4, quads. I did that a little bit. Snare. That was my senior year, and in pit I did the auxiliary and big bass drums and bass guitar.
Man, I always said you did look like Nick Cannon in high school. Old snare drummer over there.
That was literally me. I mean, wait, I'm pretty sure I got it on Facebook.
Hey, I don't give a shit what anybody says. 1, that was a compliment. 2, yeah, it was a joke, but it's definitely a compliment. But 3,
I take that
anybody
more
who
as a
says the movie
compliment.
Drumline sucks can eat ass because that movie is dope.
Yeah, anyone that says that movie sucks, y'all can fuck off.
I liked it.
That's a good ass movie.
I never really did
I'm
band.
going on Facebook and I'm finding one of my pictures.
I did do orchestra for a little bit, like in elementary school, and then when I moved to Virginia, they didn't have orchestra, so I was like, all right, well, I guess.
Remember that big ass case I had to carry around all the time?
Yeah.
For my tenor saxophone.
Yeah, that thing was almost the size of you.
Yeah, it was enormous. It was enormous. Well, while
Yep.
Anderson finds that,
Hold on.
how'd you get it?
Yeah, I got one of our wins. I think it was our senior year. Yep. Just a second.
Where's this going? Discord? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Holding the trophy as high as possible.
Of course.
Motherfucker on the field.
And of course, it was also because we finally got to take our harnesses off.
No, the tallest motherfucker is
So I
actually
was
2
stretching.
people behind him. If you look behind the trophy, there's a guy there that's taller. Behind the chick?
Yep.
But, damn.
Hang on, Anderson. I just want to point out something, brother.
Uh-huh.
Like I know we thick boys, and you and I have talked about how there was back in the day we were fit boys. You still had a dumpy, bruh.
I've always had a dumpy.
This man's a pole on the field, still got a dump truck ass.
Bro, it was cursed genetics.
You were playing 2 bass drums, brother, not just 1.
Hey, yo, I work with what I got, and I had a lot.
I respect it. All right. This is gonna be one that we're gonna, I'm sure, have a debate about. Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Council member easy.
Anderson?
I got bored, so I would say master.
I think this is probably going to be one of the more unpopular opinions. I loved Attack of the Clones.
Coarse on my skin.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
That was dumb. That's
It's
why it doesn't get a
tough, man.
Grandmaster. But like the introduction of the clones, Jango and Boba, Obi-Wan coming into his own, like all of it, just the rest of it, I should say, good. The stuff with, Anakin and Padme, I couldn't care less about that.
We could have kept that out and been perfectly fine.
Couldn't care less about that.
So here's my problem. Is they hinted at the romance, of course, in episode 1. The problem was, if I'm not mistaken, she was like 19 or 20 at that time, and Anakin was like 10.
Yeah.
Well, I thought traditionally like Naboo queens were like 15, 16 tops.
She'd already been queen for a while.
But so I guess when
because remember, if you remember in episode 2, they talk about how, and making sure I'm getting my time right, they talk about how she had moved to council because she gave up the seat of queen a long time prior. She had been working in the council for a long time before episode 2 popped up.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
But
so, yeah, a little creepy. But I mean, you know, hey, Anakin's a cougar chaser.
Yeah,
no big deal.
I mean, he took a swing and he hit a home run, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knocked her up on the first time. Like, good job, buddy.
Like you would think
a dude that has powers over a mystical force would know not to do that.
And even beyond that, like they don't have better contraceptives. like
I know, y'all got flying cars and
lightsabers. Flying cars. You managed to freaking contain plasma in a tube, like, but you can't come up with better freaking condoms or like a birth control pill that was just like
the power of the force. Force that stuff out of there. Pull it.
I mean, yeah, but waterbender from Avatar. I told you not to come at me.
I mean, I'm just thinking like one of those droid bots has got to like flip a switch somewhere. Like, all right, you can get pregnant now. Or even for the dude, like, all right, you can shoot live ones now. Like, you know, like that's
there's just a little droid in your pecker that just turns it on and off.
what would the classification? What would that one's name be? Like PP6 and like the number is like how long your shit is.
PP 6.9 thousand.
PP.5. I need you to go in and inject me real quick here.
Just have a remote. It is just like sterile to busting fat ropes.
Okay.
Getting slightly more back on topic. Rusty's just now coming in saying, Phantom Menace at Grandmaster. Yeah, you'll have to watch the video if you missed that conversation. But yes, easy Grandmaster, don't care.
Yep.
I like the current conversation.
I fully agree that Obi-Wan came into his own. How shouldn't use the word came?
Only the highest quality content here on TV.
He Obi-Wan was Obi-Wan. He's the dude, okay? And Anakin, I think, first of all, Hayden gets way too much flack for that. Like,
yeah,
I think he did a great job in the 2 movies. I think he did a phenomenal job. And I'm stoked to see him come back as Vader in the Obi-Wan series.
Yeah, by the way,
that's gonna be top-notch A+ work. The part that ruined it for me was I don't want to say ruined it. That's a strong word. The part that brought it down for me was it was the whole like Anakin and Padme with Obi-Wan watching romance on the battlefield. Like they were secretive about that the whole time. And I know they go into it more in Clone Wars. Like if you watch Clone Wars, they go into it because I believe Obi-Wan actually falls in love with somebody as well, but never has a chance to pursue it, this whole thing. And that's why the Clone Wars animated series, if you've never watched it, please watch it. It's A+ content. But it just like, I feel like their romance was rushed in the second movie. Like I like truly just like no reason to stop. Like the flirting wasn't a problem because everybody's been in that awkward flirting phase where they're like, oh my God, you're pretty. Like, and like no one gives a shit about that. Like it's okay. Like give the flirting's fine, everything, but it's like if you're gonna keep it a secret, keep it a secret. Don't openly flaunt it where you're making out on top of a post when this giant like I don't remember what it's called, but this giant praying mantis monster is trying to come after you. Like, huh?
Yeah, in the middle of a fucking stadium.
But redeeming point to that was when all the Jedi showed up, and it was just an epic, like all lightsabers out, ready to rock and roll fight in the Coliseum. That was dope.
Yeah.
And then watching Yoda go full BA on what's his name? Count Dooku, yes.
Yoda
that
straight
was
up went dodgeball on his ass, just bouncing around.
I would personally so me, I would personally put it at master. Sam, what did you say? Did you say grandmaster or council member?
I said council member. I can concede master just because of like how long they talked about the romance between Anakin and Padme. Like if they had kind of cut out some of that shit and focused a little bit more on the action, I would have been a lot more fine with it. So I can definitely concede master.
Yeah, I'm fine with master. That's what I originally said.
Cool. All right. Episode. Nope. Actually, I take it back. Clone Wars.
Talking about the animated one.
I thought we weren't doing
Okay.
the movies. I mean, I thought we were only doing movies.
Oh, this has everything.
Well, so I have not seen Clone Wars, so I could not tell you anything about it.
Okay.
At all.
Anderson, have you watched all of them?
Yes, grandmaster.
I'd agree with that.
I mean, y'all go ahead. I'll take your word for it, and as soon as Linda gets back, we'll start watching that.
Yeah, do that for sure. Episode 3.
I mean, I wouldn't. It's tough between council member and grandmaster for me.
Explain.
I think I would err on grandmaster personally, because one, we finally see Anakin become the big bad, which I mean everybody knew that was happening, but still, like I think they did it in a good way. The fight between Obi-Wan and Anakin was awesome.
Amazing, yeah.
Anakin, slaughtering every youngling.
Yes.
Like just all of that kind of combined, and they didn't focus too much on like any of like the romancy bullshit. Like of course, it played into it, of course, because it kind of has to. But I think they did it like at a good enough level to where it wasn't just overdone like it was in episode 2. And so for me, it's very, very high. I mean, a lot of these do, but
Yep. I would personally for 3. The redeeming qualities of this movie. Number 1, hearing an actual telling of the Sith. Getting a first-hand account from Palpatine talking about his master, talking like, giving those accounts of Sith powers. That was awesome.
mm-hmm.
Samuel L. Jackson being a total bamf against Palpatine in the fight in his office. The fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan was legendary. I mean, the opening scene, like the opening battle where you have
the big ass space battle, and they're in the like the kind of newer style Jedi fighters.
Yeah,
like,
so good. I personally do not find any negative quality in this movie. For me, it's Grandmaster. I think what it did was it corrected a lot of the things that the second one got wrong, and all the things that the second one did right, it made even better.
Yep. Anderson.
Okay. Me, I would I'm between council member and grandmaster. More leaning towards grandmaster, but I don't know. I just like the filicide, the domestic violence at the end. It was so great. And then of course, like we already brought up, Obi-Wan and Anakin's what it was.
But that's number 2 on your like top things.
Yeah, because I laughed my ass off when I came to that scene.
I mean, yeah, but
Anakin just choking the bitch. I was just like, ah. But then from there,
if you think about it though, all jokes aside, that was one of the most iconic scenes of that entire trilogy.
Yeah.
Because that was the first time we actually saw the Force choke in that trilogy.
Yeah, true.
The Force choke.
Because if you remember, the Force choke was an iconic.
Daddy.
Quick aside, can a Jedi use Force choke on himself to masturbate?
All right, so we're just gonna throw this fucking on detail. I'm just moving forward here.
Wait, no, dude, I wasn't even finished. I also did my bro base window dirty. Out the window, man. Come on. Give him some peace more.
He could be alive. You don't know.
He ain't alive.
He could be. Darth Maul came back.
Kenobi! Yeah.
Oh, well, okay. I can see that. Well, on the off chance that he's alive, yeah, I can see the Grandmaster. It's just, it was great. I loved it, and I laughed a whole lot during that fucking movie. Probably inappropriately, but whatever.
I'm gonna say this. Just not even talking about ranking the videos for a second, but iconic scenes that I didn't bring up that I wanted to. Number one, in this movie, like I was saying, the Force choke is actually Vader's most iconic Force move throughout all of his trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we saw that for the first time, I remember when I saw that for the first time, I was like not even the fact of who he was choking, just the fact that was the first time we saw him just like reach his arm out, and I was like, oh my God, he's doing it. Like, it's perfect. But when I said Kenobi, Sam, I know you don't know this, but there's a scene, I can't remember which season it's in, and I could pull it up. It's in Clone Wars, where Obi-Wan sees Maul, and Maul is ready to fight him, and he's got his blade out, and he's ready to kill him. And Obi-Wan goes from his stance, holding his blade. He moves his stance like this, like the one that he pulls against Grievous. And then he pulls the stance that Qui-Gon pulled to throw Maul off and destroy his ass. I remember seeing that. And when he went to all three stances, I was like,
yeah. I remember seeing that, and I was just like, oh, Darth Maul about to get wrecked.
Because what he did, he was using that as a tactic to get in his head and make him think like, oh shit, like that I've seen this before. Because he knew, like, he knew that the last time he saw that was Qui-Gon, he killed Qui-Gon, but Obi-Wan knew what he was going to do. He remembered the move that he was going to pull because he watched it firsthand. And he deflected it, and oh dude, oh my God, it's so good. Anyways, but no, so episode 3, Anderson, where would you put it?
Grandmaster.
Do we all agree on Grandmaster?
Yeah.
Groovy. Okay, next, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is Solo. Well, Anderson, you start. Where would you put it, buddy?
I did not like Solo.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't like it that much. I mean, to me, I mean, it gave a background to Han Solo, but I mean, when I was watching the movies and everything like that, I just knew Han Solo was Han Solo. I really didn't care about his background. And then to give it, I was just like, yeah, okay. I get it with some of the things like where he got his name Han Solo and just lackluster. And I was just like, this is stupid. And it just bored me really. So, I mean, I'd probably put it at night.
You'd put it at night?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed with this at all.
Okay. Sam?
I enjoyed it because throughout the movies, at least, and it wasn't really until we got into like Mandalorian that we saw anything else like this. But I enjoyed it because you got to see kind of the other side of it. It wasn't all just like the mystical dudes that can move things with their heads. You know, it was like actual real people, you know, like the actual effects of the Empire. And so you got to see more of like the societal aspects of the Empire being in charge. And so, you know, when like Han's trying to escape, like the train station thing or whatever it was, and you know, like, you know, definitely a lot of corollaries to, you know, like kind of like Nazi kind of looking stuff, of course, but you know, just kind of seeing that in a way that, you know, you knew that the hero wasn't some guy that, you know, was extra gifted because of, you know, some magical force. He was just a real dude who was just a real badass that made friends with the literal Sasquatch. And seeing that kind of, you know, friendship kind of start, I think was really, really good. And so like I guess a lot of it, I think too, is going into that movie without the idea that you're going to watch, you know, lightsabers and force and everything like that. You know, it's going into it a lot more realistic, which I enjoyed. Like I'm glad they didn't do it a ton, like with other movies. I think, you know, that one movie and then like Mandalorian are really like the only two that did. Other than like maybe some of the animated stuff, I don't know, but I haven't watched that. But yeah, I think it was really tastefully done. For me, it would be like a Master Council member kind of movie.
There's one thing in this that it was all I needed from this movie for me to easily rank it high. And that is everyone who is a deep cut Star Wars fan has always wanted to see if the Millennium Falcon could actually make the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs or less.
Mm.
And we got that. When I saw that, dude. Like, because it's, of course, you know, the Millennium Falcon's going to pop up, which means Lando's going to be there. And the fact that they had Lando involved so heavily with it too, and showing their history and such, and even the final scene where they're together and he finally catches him cheating and beats him and earns the Millennium Falcon from gambling, which they talked about in other movies as well. Like, there's so many things about Han's story that made that movie fantastic. You know, I personally could have done without the whole. I mean, I enjoyed his origin, if you will, of like him being on that working planet and like the damn leech lady or whatever it was, like kind of like directing them and all that nasty whatever. But all in all I really needed to see, which you got a full detailed experience of it too, was just the Kessel Run. And that for me easily puts it at council member. Easily. I don't think there was anything in that movie that really detracted from it enough for me to go, no. Like everything in that movie, the story carried through perfectly. Everybody in that movie was fantastic. Every actress and actor was awesome. And it just, I mean, it sold it for me. Everything was fantastic.
Plus Amelia Clark, you know, so.
True. So this is where we all have to figure out where we're going to put her. Where's it going?
I don't think Joe and I will concede a night rating.
Yeah, I can put it in council master or council member.
You cool with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Oh yeah, I got plenty more saved up for the newer ones.
Oh Lord. All right. Next up, I believe, is Rebels, I want to say. I think it's in this order from here, at least. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So that should be in order now. So next up is Star Wars Rebels. I've seen a little bit of it. Wasn't my favorite, but wasn't bad. Anderson, have you watched it?
No, I haven't watched Rebels.
Sam?
Nope.
Okay, well, this will be an easy one for me then. And then Resistance. Have y'all watched that?
Is that another animated?
Yep.
Nope.
Anderson?
I don't think so. No.
I'm gonna put that one in Padawan. No, I'll put that in night because both of those they were decent, but they weren't ones that I would definitely like go back and watch over and over again. All right, Rogue One.
I forgot Rogue One was a little bit more realistic too.
Yeah, I kind of like Rogue One.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention that earlier when I was talking about Solo. Yep, Rogue One was good. Trying to think. I've only seen it once, so I'm trying to remember exactly.
The premise behind the story of it all was they were basically, her father was a scientist for the Empire and helping build the Death Star. He was the person who actually made the failsafe for the penetrating hole for somebody to blow up the engines.
Yeah.
The whole movie was kind of just wrapping up the plot hole of why the Death Star had that hole.
Yeah, well, I mean, not only was it wrapping up that plot hole, but it gave a lot more continuity to the Death Star. Because you gotta think when the first movie ever came out, it's this massive thing where it's like, okay, we have this protagonist who has no idea that he is literally in line to either be royalty or literally like become, one of the most powerful beings in the universe or in the galaxy. Okay, now you have somebody in a black suit who is literally the strongest person in the galaxy trying to take over the entire galaxy, and he's doing that with this massive moon-based looking ship that can blow up planets. Like, phenomenal movie, don't get me wrong, I love the movie, but it's just like, that's a lot. There's a lot going on there. And so this, I think Rogue One really did a phenomenal job of being able to wrap all that up and showing like how the plans got to Leia, like where the plans came from, who did what, like, and we can't forget the most iconic scene in that entire movie was in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think so.
Leia's ship, lights go out, red lightsaber, dark figure, Darth Vader starts laying, I'm talking just murking everybody, dude. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Phenomenal. So
being an absolute
where would
badass.
where would y'all rank Rogue One?
For me, it'd be probably like a like master council member, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I'd say council member for me.
Perfect. A New Hope, one that I know everyone has seen.
If you haven't, you are way behind.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing watching
Honestly.
this at this point?
Before we get into this, I have a question for you both.
Okay.
Who shot first?
Han actually shot. They edited that later to make it more family friendly. Because people were like, how can we have a protagonist? Like, basically, the concept of like an anti-hero wasn't really a thing then. So,
Correct.
like, yeah. So, yeah, they edited it later on.
Yeah, Han Solo is the original anti-hero.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, honestly, like, it's hard not to put it in Grandmaster just because, I mean, of course, it's the beginning of all of it.
Yeah.
I would definitely put it in Grandmaster.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what started everything.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like, is there anything that I didn't like in that movie? And I honestly can't think of anything.
Plus, for when it came out and during its time, it was a pioneer
That was
for a lot of things.
Huge for the time. Absolutely huge. So yeah, I think.
I mean, I think we just got to give a Grandmaster out of respect for what it.
I mean, honestly, let's all bow down to to George Lucas and.
There we go.
Chuck him bows.
All right, The Empire Strikes Back.
Another phenomenal movie. That's kind of the hard part. Like I feel kind of bad giving so many Grandmaster ratings, but I mean, it's Star Wars.
Yeah, The Empire Strikes Back. I really can't give it anything less than a Grandmaster either. Because I mean, of course, that's where we get the iconic scene. If I gotta spell it out for you, then you don't really know.
I mean, you don't. But I mean, do we give all three of the original Grandmaster?
Hot take.
I don't know if I'd give the 6th one to Grandmaster.
I think Empire was one of the worst ones made.
If you look at the whole library, I can maybe agree with that, but it was still like before, prequels and anything else came out. It's still really good.
So we have to look at this objectively. Are we looking at this in comparison to all the movies? Or are we looking at this compared to that trilogy?
I mean, we're doing it in comparison to all, but like at the same time, like I got to think of my own feelings.
Correct. And that's what I'm going with mine too.
Yeah.
So my own feelings in that movie, yes, one of the most iconic scenes ever. No, I am your father, which often people think it's Luke, I'm your father. It is not.
No, never
the
said his
hand.
name.
Yep, the hand being cut off. Let's see, what else? Wearing the intestines of what are they called?
The llama things.
Yeah, the little llama things. I can't remember what they're called. Tauntauns.
Yeah.
Wearing that. I mean, Yoda.
That was a survival tactic. I was fine with it.
I mean, the movie was good, but I fall asleep more often than not watching it. Like, it's not a movie that keeps me engaged the whole time. It's a great like foundation builder, but a lot of people always say like Empire is one of the best movies ever created, and I'm like, it's.
I wouldn't say it's one of the best. It's up there, but it's not the best.
Correct. Like, I personally would put Empire probably at master.
Rusty's in the chat saying, "What, dude? It's like the second best."
Yeah, no. It just doesn't like. Yeah, okay. You meet Yoda, cool. You see Luke's training, awesome. You see Luke fly off as a premature teen going to fight his dad, okay. Like, like there's foundation within the movie, sure, but the movie itself is so slow.
Yeah, the middle part of the movie was kind of boring.
Yeah, you look at A New Hope. A New Hope is keeping you engaged the whole time. You're like, holy shit, this kind of thing has never been shot before. The only major redeeming properties of Empire is the fact that like it looks way better because it's shot with a much higher budget than what the first one was. You have some iconic scenes in it, but the whole movie overall was just kind of like, okay, here we go. What's Chad saying?
Rusty's saying A New Hope doesn't deserve Grandmaster, then a new nap is what he calls it.
Wow. Wow. The disgrace. The disgrace. I'll be at your house later.
Beat the shit out of you and beat your going home, motherfucker.
What'd you say? No, I just don't think Empire is as good as everyone thinks. Like, the writing was good, but the movie itself was just so slow paced. And that's coming from somebody who loves watching movies. Like, I will stay engaged in a movie. If I fall asleep in a movie, that means that's saying something.
Yeah.
So I don't know how y'all want to work this one out.
I can agree to council member.
Yeah, I'm fine with council member.
All right, I'll put it there for us to all agree. Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. I was very mad on my book.
Go into detail as to why.
The beginning, I mean, just the thought process and the plan that Luke had trying to get to Han or whatever. I was just like, this is so convoluted and depending on so many factors that it's infeasible. Like, it was just dumb. Like, you send in Leia, send in Lando to be an undercover spy, then you send in the droids, then you come in yourself when you already had a mess of droids. Like, what was the even purpose of all the other people involved? You could have just went in there and did your own thing. Like,
well, he really couldn't, if you think about it, because when they were the Sarlacc pit, like, everybody had a part to play in helping get Han out. Like, everyone had a part to play at that point. Of course, at that point, Han was already thawed out because they thought about then, but, getting him out of there, everyone had an integral piece on what they needed to do to make that happen, because they knew they were going up against the biggest mob boss in the galaxy. So even though he was a giant fat slug, like,
We still had a lot of muscle around him.
Yeah, Jabba is someone not to be messed with. I mean, the Hutts, if you think about it, in every single movie, well, probably not every single movie, definitely in the prequels and in the originals, like the Hutts were mentioned a lot as like the crime family.
Hmm.
Like they were revered in that galaxy. So like, just you can't shake nothing at him. Like, even though he was walking into just what seemed like a simple just thieves cave, some of the people in there were some of the most terrifying and terrorizing criminals in the galaxy that were all there to cash in on bounties or what have you. So
I mean, I guess. I mean, I'm just saying I would rather deal with them than a magical space wizard that can move a whole entire starship destroyer.
well, at that time, Luke hadn't come into his powers like that. If you think about it, a lot of Luke's legacy that we hear about doesn't happen until after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, he's still pretty.
That's what they were talking about a lot more in the sequels, like talking about Luke's legacy and how powerful of a Jedi he really was, which was also. Oh wait, did you ever get a chance to watch all of Mando?
I only finished the first season today.
Omega Rip. Okay. Well.
I mean, to be honest, I'm probably not going to watch it anymore.
Okay, so if that's the case, do I have your permission to say what I was about to say?
Sure.
That's a spoiler. Okay. In Mando, we get a real taste of what Luke's power level is, because when he shows up, everybody, well, what's his name? What was oh Lord, what was the general's name? Help me out here, Sam.
You're asking the wrong person. You know my memory.
What was his name?
The dude from Breaking Bad.
It's the dude who was hunting down the child the whole time. What's his name? I can't remember. Either way, when Luke shows up, you see his face and you see Luke's power with how like impressively powerful he is. Mm-hmm. Like, you really don't get a taste of his power level until after that, because it's not until after he beats Vader and his dad, like, and basically, you know, Vader goes back to the light, you know, before he dies to become one with the other Force ghosts, that Luke finds out he has the power to see Force ghosts. Not all Jedi had that. He had the power to see Force ghosts, so he began training again after that to become even more powerful, from Obi-Wan, from Yoda, so on and so forth. So
I really never got that. Why did Anakin go back to his like good self or something? Isn't the Force like kind of universal? It's made up of good and bad. I mean, isn't that why they have like gray Jedis and stuff like that?
Oh, so in the books, yes. In the movies, gray Jedi have not been mentioned yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they never really got brought up, because everyone was assuming that Rey was going to be a gray Jedi in the final movie, and she wasn't. They never really went into the whole gray Jedi thing, because it's all about the balance. The balance.
Yeah, that's what I thought the Force was about, the balance.
Yeah, so in the prequels, that's what you get a lot of. You get the balance, because in the prequels, when we start out, the Jedi Temple is just, you know, the Jedi are everywhere. Like they've got Jedi coming out of, you know, school right into the council, and, you know, they're putting Jedi all over the galaxy to protect everyone and so on and so forth, because they were like basically space police, if you think about it that way. And that's why the Force was like, okay, well, the balance has to maintain here, and, you know, we're getting off here, so now we have to bring in an even more powerful entity. Well, here comes Palpatine. And then Palpatine starts, you know, Palpatine had Maul and then Dooku, and then realized, oh, the chosen one from the prophecy is actually Anakin. Mm-hmm. And the chosen one, if you go back and watch the prequels and really dive into the lore of it, Anakin was never, ever supposed to be the chosen one for the good, for the light. He was never the chosen one for the Jedi. He was the chosen one to bring balance to the Force. And the unbalance was there were so many Jedi in comparison to Sith, and his power, Palpatine knowing his power, he pulled him to the dark, balancing the Force once more.
I was gonna say, you can kind of get a sense of that from even just watching the movies. You don't have to like really delve too deep into it, because
Exactly.
like they have this enormous Jedi Force. They even said in the first one, like the Sith haven't been seen for like 1,000 years or something ridiculous like that. It's like, well, yeah, of course, like if they're saying that there's a prophecy to bring balance to the Force, don't you think you should look at that a little bit better? For people that sit around and meditate all the damn time, and like
kind of miss some big shit.
Like if anything,
Yoda,
Yoda's like, bro, we need to like chill the fuck out on this, but like everybody else,
Yoda mentioned that. Yoda mentioned that. I think it's an Attack of the Clones. He brought up, he said, like, are we sure we're reading the prophecy correctly?
Yeah.
Like, because they kept bringing up, like, he's the chosen one. He's the chosen one. He's got it. He's the one who brings balance to the Force. But if you think about it, you look at the very end, of course, in the movie's base here, you look at the very end of the prequels, and what happened? You have Palpatine and Vader, Yoda and Obi-Wan, 2 and 2. Perfect balance. So it's like,
then there's Luke and Leia.
Correct. Yep. Like if you look at it, there's all from that point moving forward, there was always 2 Force sensitive light side and 2 Force sensitive dark side. It was always Palpatine and someone, typically Vader, throughout the most of it. And then especially like in the originals, you had Luke and Leia, who were both on the good side. Luke knew he was Force sensitive. Leia didn't until later on.
Ugh.
I would love to, just as a quick aside, I would love to see movies bridging that gap.
Same.
Between, the ending of the most recent ones or like between the ending of the original 3 and then the new 3.
Also, question, was midichlorians ever like accepted or denounced or anything like that? Because I never really got that.
Metachlorians were just it's kind of like the cellular count of what makes you Force sensitive. Like everyone, the Force is within everyone in all of the lore of Star Wars. I mean, the Force is what moves everything and provides life. So metachlorians were basically the cells within your body that could attain Force sensitivity. So the more metachlorians you had, the more Force sensitive you were. That was explained in episode 1.
Okay.
They never really delved deeper into it though. Like that was basically it. Like they were just like, he's got more.
As a matter of fact, I think young Anakin was the one who asked that question.
Yeah.
To Qui-Gon.
Yeah, he was like, what are midichlorians?
Yep. And then he explained it, and I was just like, I still don't understand what the fuck they are, but all right.
Mm-hmm.
Just chalk it up to space wizards.
Thinking of it as like the conduit to bring the Force in and apply it.
I guess that makes sense.
I mean, that's kind of the best way I can think of it.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, wrapping this back to Return of the Jedi, the movie itself, I mean, it was a true conclusion with an open ending, really. Like it gave you the perfect balance of conclusion to that saga with the ability to continue the story into something even greater, with how everything worked out with Anakin coming back to the light, knowing that Luke is still going to be training. Like, even though it was for a brief moment, if you look at the very end of Return of the Jedi, when Luke is staring out in the distance of the trees and you see all the Force ghosts standing there, it's like that's him recognizing, like, oh, I see everyone. I have this ability to actually see Force wielding souls, basically. And it's kind of like a nod to, like, hey, Luke's story isn't done. Like, something's gonna happen. We just stick around and we'll get to it. I don't think anybody had anticipated us jumping 30 years into the future, but here nor there. I think that Return of the Jedi either needs to be council member or grandmaster.
I can do council member.
Oh, I can do council member.
Okay. All right. The Mandalorian.
Grandmaster. That kind of goes back into the same thing of like, yeah, there's a little bit of Force stuff there, but it's mostly just a dude in armor. Right?
It's a damn space Western. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love it because,
Like,
man, all the bounty hunters and stuff are like, oh, so we can't use lasers and stuff because Jedi block it. Well, fuck you. I'll use bullets instead.
Yeah.
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm completely fine with it because that's my thought process.
Yeah. Why did they
Like-
never, arm like stormtroopers with both?
Because they're
'Cause they couldn't
stormtroopers
hit
and they're
anything
laughably
anyways.
incompetent.
But still, I mean, even the wrong clock is, right twice a day, or a broken clock.
There was an entire scene in the second season dedicated to showing how bad the aim of stormtroopers was. There were literally two stormtroopers sitting on speeder bikes right next to each other, and there's a can about 10 feet away from them. And you see one pull his pistol out and go, "Phew," and miss. And he shoots again and misses. And the other one's like, "Ah, you suck." Bang, misses. And he's like, oh, like,
And then that awkward moment
stormtroopers.
back in
Stormtroopers dumb as hell.
back in New Hope when Obi-Wan's like, this fire is too precise. It has to be done by a stormtrooper. And we're all looking back at that like, really? Sure about that?
Yeah.
We're just like,
exactly?
Obi-Wan, come on, man. We know you old,
Who
but you
you
ain't that
talking
old.
about? Yeah, I would put Mando and Grandmaster because easy enough. I remember watching the last episode of season 2, and my wife was right above me in the kitchen. She heard me squeal when Luke showed up. When I saw the X-Wing fly in, I was like, and I mean, I was like chills down my spine, the tingle. I was like, oh,
I'm getting them right now. It's just you talking about it.
right? Like I'm thinking about, I'm like, oh my God. And then, dude, just seeing him walk in with the black cloak on and just green lightsaber comes open. Oh my God. And when I saw that, I was like, and dude, it seriously, like I remember she opened the door. She's like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fantastic." Like tears streaming down my eyes. Like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Like, let's give it up for Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau over one time. Man, I like.
You really should watch it, Anderson. Like you really should.
You need to, bro. Season 2 is so much better than season 1.
Nah, it bored me. I'm pretty much done with it.
If you're bored with season 1, I guarantee you probably would not be bored with season 2 because season 2 is way more fast paced.
If I gotta suffer through a whole season just to get some good stuff, no, not continue with it.
But the whole season has good stuff. I think there's maybe like one episode that was just meh, and it was the Ice Planet episode.
Nah, I'm good.
That one was pretty meh.
So where would you put this, Anderson?
All right, y'all could put it in Grandmaster. Me personally, I'd probably put it in Master. I mean, it was a good series. It was just boring to me.
What do you think, Sam?
All right, we could always concede to council member.
Y'all cool with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay. All righty. The Force Awakens.
Yep.
I'm curious about this one.
I enjoyed them. I don't think they were terrible. I just want to say that now. For me, it was. Like when they were first like announcing it, I was hoping to kind of pick up where we left off. But then it was 30 years in the future. So I was a little upset about that. Again, like that one did kind of focus a little bit more on kind of just normal people, but kind of like starting to build the story of the next two. I don't know. Like for me, I think it'd probably be like Knight or Master.
Anderson, I'm just curious as to what you have waiting, like, because your face is just
I hated this whole
polarizing.
saga. I
Really?
hated everything. Yeah. I will say the first one was decent. It was all right. I like that they focused on other characters other than just the Jedi. Like Flint and all them. It was okay. Ray and that one, laughable concept, but you know what? Okay, I can get with it. Movie was well made and everything like that. Is just then who's the dumbass that has daddy issues?
Kylo Ren.
Yeah, him. He was stupid. Him killing Han. I mean, good scene. I was like fine with it because Han kind of needed to die anyway. But just Kylo Ren is a fucking dumbass. For me, I'd put the first one at night.
So, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I agree he was a dumbass, but then at the same time, you got to think Anakin, like every Jedi around that age, or really anybody with Force around that age, was all kind of, young, dumb, and full of the Force. And so,
Yeah, but he was just mad because mommy and daddy hooked up. So,
I mean,
and then of course he had that Darth Vader obsession, which was weird.
yeah. Anyway, continue, Joe.
My only problem with the movie was the fact that it felt like it was A New Hope.
I mean, kind of. It straight up started like New Hope on a desert.
Protagonist is an orphan left to their own, life on a sandy barren planet. Protagonist's best friend is someone who's on the run. Think about that. Protagonist's third friend is someone who's already part of the military. What do you think? Leo was already part of the military. Antagonist is someone who is hell-bent on being the most powerful person in the entire universe. Antagonist's big weapon is a planet-destroying weapon. Literally one laser beam to the planet. That's it. Done. Built like a moon base. There's that. I mean,
I see where you're going. It is kind of a lazy concept.
If you look at it piece by piece and break it down by character and by, just story overall, or if you want, locations, it's A New Hope. It's A New Hope. However, I really enjoyed Kylo Ren's character in defense to what Anderson said. Reason I like it is because if you think about the legacy that Darth Vader left behind, nobody except for Luke, and Luke being the only one, nobody but Luke knew that Anakin had come back to the light before he died. So everyone in the entire Empire and the First Order and anybody on the dark side knew him as the ultimate general to all this, thinking he had just died on the Death Star. So everyone was looking up to that power as his legacy, him being the most incredibly terrorizing villain to have ever roamed the stars. Kylo Ren's daddy issues came from the fact that he had lost his trust for Han and Leia due to what happened at the Jedi Temple. We don't know that yet because we haven't seen Luke yet in this movie. We get more of that in The Last Jedi. But you understand, based on what was happening, you find out that he originally was supposed to go to the dark anyways, and he went to the Jedi Temple. Something happened. he lost the trust of his folks because he thought that they sent him there to be killed by Luke. And so when he turned to the dark side, he became power hungry, and the only idol he could look up to at that time was Vader, because Snoke, while Snoke wasn't introduced yet, Snoke was the one pulling the strings, but Snoke wasn't really his master. Snoke was just kind of like this leader, kind of, guiding everything around. So Kylo Ren really had no master. The only thing he had to look up to was the legacy in which his grandfather left, which was the ultimate power of the universe or of the galaxy. So while Kylo Ren gets all this flack for being a bitch, he's really not. He's just someone who's trying to understand his own power and creating his own legacy to be even more powerful than the person he's related to, who literally was the most powerful being in the entire galaxy. So redeeming quality to me. I loved I loved his story because it's somebody who's lost trying to understand his own power. The scene where he killed Han floored me. I mean, floored me because I was not prepared for that. And I think you actually see his ultimate power because his powers start to come to at the end of that movie. Because if you remember, there's a very iconic moment in that scene when he kills Han. Chewie, with his crossbow blaster, shoots Kylo Ren directly in the torso. If you go watch any scene where Chewie shoots somebody with that thing, they're flying back about 50 to 100 feet.
Or
That's
if
how
you
much
played
power is coming out of
Battlefront,
that blaster.
if you've played Battlefront, like that thing is a powerful
absolutely
gun.
devastated.
Yeah. So he shoots Kylo Ren in the torso, and Kylo Ren still walked out of that refinery, out into the woods to track down Luke's lightsaber, and still fought Rey and Finn. The reason he couldn't use all of his Force ability was because he was literally using the Force to hold his stomach together. If you notice, his arm is kind of like in a sling motion here, where it's kind of like tucked like this the whole time. That's because he's literally using the Force to hold his guts into his stomach to make sure he doesn't die while fighting, but he was still on the hunt for that lightsaber.
You make good
that
points
is
there.
Huge. So take it for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth. Kylo Ren gets all shit on all the time and really doesn't deserve it, because that dude was just dealt a shitty hand, and he is showing how much of a badass he actually is. So I don't know where y'all would want to rank it. I don't remember, unfortunately, what y'all had said, but for me, I mean, for that movie, I would probably go no lower than Master.
I'm not going higher than Knight.
I think I had said around Master. I think I said Knight or Master. Quick shout out, Blake the Man with the Plan in the chat. What's going on, dude?
What up? So we have to decide here, because this one's a tough one, because we got very polarizing ideas to that story.
All right, Star Wars Court
is now in session. I will be your judge, Judge Sam. I have heard your cases. Turn the reverb down a little.
Your Honor. Oh, Your Honor.
Yes. The judge recognizes the plaintiff, Sir Joe.
As one speaking for the Kylo Ren, I make motion to place this movie at the rank of Master.
All right, heard. And the defendant, Sir Anderson?
I moved to place it in Knight because he was not dealt a shitty hand. He just reacted to everything shittily.
Heard. Chat, you are my jury. Please let us know where you would place this movie. The options are between Master and Knight. I will not hear any other And I just wait upon your verdict.
No, but seriously, since we're kind of at an impasse, because like I would put it at master or knight. So I don't know. We haven't dealt with this before.
I don't think we've ever reached a point
Yeah.
like this before.
Yeah.
Unstoppable force and movable object. That's where we're at.
Yeah, I just like to, go with the flow. I'm more like a river, Like
It's fair. It's fair.
Your Honor, if I may,
The council recognizes the plaintiff, Joe.
I do believe the defendant needs to feel the dark side. Truly feel it. To understand what it means to be a Sith Master.
Well, Plaintiff Joe, I believe the defendant is already dark enough.
Your Honor, I'd just like to say that making me the defendant outright.
Okay, in my defense, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just trying to make a court thing. I wasn't thinking about that.
I think I'm gonna leave now.
So we got Master in chat.
Okay.
Is there a way to
The
put it
jury
halfway
says-
through?
What does the jury say?
The jury says master.
Well, you're the judge.
Hmm.
In light of all this new evidence, I, the judge, will place this in master solely for the purpose of I like to see even numbers between master and knight.
That's a shitty reason, but I'll take it.
But I'm the judge, you can't do anything. Ha ha ha.
And I'm gonna say this in all fairness. I think that was the most fair way for us to do it, was for us to let chat decide, because that's like there was no way we were getting around that. Are you okay with that, Anderson?
Just put it there.
Okay, cool. Yep, gonna do that now. The Last Jedi.
What happened to that one again?
I'm gonna go
I
ultra
have,
nerd for a moment
unfortunately.
here, and I'm gonna rant, if that's okay with you both.
Yep.
There was only one good quality of that movie. One. And that was Luke Skywalker. Luke showing up in force form to battle Kylo. Luke being on the Jedi planet where they go to meditate and such.
Oh yeah, the blue milk.
Mm-hmm. The Luke and Leia scene. The Luke and Leia scene where, he kisses her on the forehead, trying to show her like, hey, everything's okay. Your brother's here. That was a very touching moment. Everything else, and I mean everything else in that movie,
Dog shit.
why? Let's break it down real quick, okay? Well, here's what we're going to
Can
do.
we just start off with my most hated scene in that whole movie, the Mary Poppins scene?
Oh,
oh, trust me, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Number one, the intro, the opening scene. Bombs do not fall in space. They literally had bombers flying over this mega ship, dropping bombs. That doesn't work like that in space.
Although one could,
Okay, it's Star Wars. You can't really bring that as a comment when there's sound.
although
in space.
I have a thing. I have a thing. You got to think for just a second. They have these giant star destroyers that are massive, right? Yet inside, people aren't floating around. They're walking on the thing, right? So one must think that they have some sort of gravitational generator. What's to say that some small object like that wouldn't fall towards it?
I call bullshit.
Well,
I agree.
if it has
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Anderson.
if they have a gravitational mechanic that can generate gravity and stuff like that, that would be all well and good until that gravity goes out into space where there is no gravity, and then you have a vacuum around the object. That being said, the bombs falling towards it, that can be technically possible if the bombs are pushed out with a propulsion mechanism.
Into motion, correct.
Into motion, because I mean there would be no friction, of course, so it would go that much faster. But I do agree with Joe. Bombs do not drop like that in space, because if they were pushed out, they'd be going the exact same speed of what the propulsion is and the acceleration to push them out is. So they wouldn't be going like speeding up or slowing down. They'd be going the exact same speed.
Exactly.
And if it had propulsion, it'd just be a missile at that point. It wouldn't be a bomb.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bomb.
Correct.
It'd be a missile. A very shitty missile, but yeah.
Yeah, they could have handled that better. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, but this is Star Wars. You also have sounds in space, which is not anywhere near possible. You wouldn't hear anything in space. So
I accept that.
You kind of got to leave that by the wayside.
Yep. Okay, to continue.
Like that, I had to go real technical real quick just to be like, hold on.
Yeah. So yes, Mary Poppins in space. If at any point in time you've ever seen a Star Wars movie and you notice that something gets blown up and people get sucked out into space, guess what happens? They die. Even if they're force sensitive, they die. Leia never, ever came close to having the amount of force power that Luke had, and Luke can't even survive that. So there's no way in all of Blue Star Wars hell that Leia should have survived that. Do you hear me? She should have died.
Also, pet peeve of mine, when someone goes into space without a spacesuit or anything like that, they don't just fucking freeze. Just because it's absolute zero doesn't mean anything.
Don't they actually like inflate?
Blown out to space.
They cook.
You get cooked, because do you know how much fucking radiation is in space? A shit ton. What do you think all those stars and suns and stuff do out there? There's radiation in space that will boil you the fuck alive, and then you will strangulate, and then you will die from lack of oxygen, and then your blood vessels and everything will burst. Don't stop doing this freezing shit. It's not how that works. I hate that shit.
That's correct. That's correct. So I'll say this too.
Also, she was frozen
if you really
and then
know,
activated the force. What the fuck? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah. If you really want to know what it's like in space, go watch the Masterclass series. I can't remember who the astronaut was, but he actually talks about what it's like to go literally walking in space.
I know
and
who you're talking
like the
about.
smells and such. Yeah. He talks about the fact that the reason he said that someone always they asked the question, does it smell like barbecue in space? Because someone always like says like it smells like cooked meat or something like that. He said, no, it's not barbecue. What you're smelling is your suit.
Yeah, I think the one you're talking about is Chris Hadfield.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about the fact that because of the radiation, you're literally smelling your suit that was cooked in space. That's why your suit is built the way it is to withstand the radiation with those layers. He said, but if you were to go out into space without a suit, whatever side of your body is facing away from the sun or the nearest point star, that side of your body will literally freeze. The other side will literally cook.
Yep. And it's a very brutal way to go, because you suffer, then you strangulate, then you die.
Yeah.
There's even go on YouTube, there's a Wired series that he did. Astronaut Chris Hadfield debunks space myths, and he talks about it in there.
Yep. So, understandably, this is a Star Wars movie, so it's not based on science. Nonetheless, they had already shown what it looks like when someone gets sucked out into space. They die. There's no question about it. They die. Literally, go watch episode 2. If you watch episode 2 at the very beginning of the space, episode 3, excuse me, the very beginning of the space battle, when you see Obi-Wan and Anakin flying around their Jedi ships, there's literally a scene where you see a body ding off of one of the wings and just keeps floating, because they're already dead. They are literally dead. They're just like, there's no animation to it whatsoever. So there's no way Leia should have survived that. There was
Also,
an
the fact that
explosion
she
first and
died,
foremost.
came back to life, and then used the force, like, So much wrong with that.
But I understand the concept behind it, because you know in episode 7, Kylo says to Han, I know what I have to do, I just don't know if I'm strong enough to do it. What he was mentioning was he had to kill his parents, the last thing that was holding him to the light. And so he had to kill Leia, which is understandable. That whole point, him flying up, that was a badass scene. The scene where you see them both force connect at the same time and she knows what's coming. She's just like, okay, do what you have to do. Like, you see it. You're like, this is going to break my heart. And then boom. That, if they had left it at that and her being dead, everyone, tears.
Everybody would have been fine, because first of all, they finally put to rest the character that should have been put to rest a while ago, because the character that played her was actually dead. But instead, they keep using her. That's also one of my pet peeves with these movies.
No, I think Carrie Fisher actually passed away
during shooting
while they were filming the last one.
Yeah, and they CGI'd her through the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Which,
well, through the scenes that she hadn't shot, which I think it was like very few. They were close to the end of filming when she passed away.
Okay, I mean, I still don't like the ethical and moral things about doing that to an actor or anything like that. But that's more on my personal side of things.
Yeah,
I can understand why they did it, because business is business, but whatever.
Yep. There's that. That's, what was the point of the gambling planet? What was the point of it?
I have no idea.
We just need to give Finn and Rose a story here. So what? Let's just send them to a gambling planet, go find some dude who clearly isn't the dude they need, and then we're gonna have him turn them and all this shit. What? Just to introduce Captain Phasma?
Also, the point of there was slave children and slave animals on that planet, and they only saved the animals. And they're like, we did good here. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, fuck the
I
people.
question these two characters now, because obviously they value animals over human lives. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's a kid's movie and most kids won't get that, but any adults watching that were just like, that's really fucked up.
And also, the fact that everyone was so pissed off about Finn and Rose having a romance. Look, just because you shipped Finn and Poe to try and be some bromance doesn't mean a damn thing. Finn and Rose could have made a great couple, but everyone wants to be pissed off because look, romance is romance. Stop. Like, they could have done anything else and that romance could have been fine.
I didn't give a shit if it was Finn and Rey, Finn and Poe, or Finn and Rosa. I couldn't really give two shits less.
Finn could have been a hoe for all we care.
When he was trying to, actually do something, even if it would cost a sacrifice, and she just interrupted him for a kiss. That was dumb as shit.
I mean, I think she interrupted more so the fact she just didn't want him to die, but
not her call.
I agree, not her call. But like everything else that I will say this, and it looked dope as hell, and it's cool that they went this path. The Holdo maneuver, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The light speed jump through the ship. That was dope as shit. Like, that was awesome. That was cool.
Kind of baffles me that they got the fictional part of space right, but not the real part of space right.
But
I mean, for this movie, all I can say is that the only good part of it was like whenever Luke was in the scene. That was about it.
I have my judgment on this. Sam, you've been quiet this whole time.
I mean, everything you guys have been saying, I agree with wholeheartedly. Like,
well, then I'm gonna throw this somewhere, and y'all tell me if y'all agree with me.
That's generous, but okay.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's fine. It's like I didn't totally hate it.
Yeah, I've seen this as I would have totally hated it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only part I didn't hate about this movie was pretty much Luke's last scene. But the rest of the movie was kind of like, I kind of just wasted like 2 hours of my time.
It's fair.
So
all right, the last one, boys.
Let Padawan go.
The last one. What are we thinking?
Fuck that movie.
The Rise of Skywalker.
I liked Mecha Palpatine.
Good old Mecha Palpatine.
And then wasn't it there that they basically realized that Rey's a Palpatine?
That was a fucking dumbest connection.
I mean, I get how it can happen.
I don't really want to go into
Right.
hell because that means Palpatine did the dirty, and he just said do it in the middle of it. And I thought that same exact thought when I saw the movie.
Order! Oh my god!
Which means, yeah, that means he had to have sex while he was like crusty, dude. Like after he got
Yeah.
zapped.
Yes, it does.
Isn't it 30 years after the originals?
He was already crusty.
Oh.
Yeah. So he
That
been
means some
crusty
bitch
for
actually
a
had to find
minute.
that as a turn on.
So he
I
been
wonder if his
crusty.
dick looked like that.
Had to have.
The dude was fried all over.
Everywhere but his dick. His dick,
Not to
pristine
mention
condition,
how the-
everything else.
How fucking old is Palpatine?
Old at this point.
Well,
because-
you gotta think. So Palpatine is probably. Hang on.
Because he's probably in his 60s by the end of episode 3.
No, he's older than that.
I was
because
being
he talks
generous,
about,
you know.
Yeah, he talks about Darth Plagueis, and Plagueis was part of the Old Republic, which was before the prequels, way before the prequels. I'm gonna say Palpatine in that movie. He doesn't talk about it, but I'm fairly certain he's well over 100, 150 years old.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
For
So
sure.
that means he had to find a woman below the age of 60.
Yeah. So that means he's probably actually, now that I think about it, he's probably over 200 years old when we see him in as Mecha, Mecha Palpatine as you
Well, I mean,
put.
if you think about it, because you remember they had said, like in the prequels, that they hadn't seen the Sith in a long, long, long time. And I think they said something like 1,000 years. So if he's talking about a Sith Lord, how old is this dude?
He's been around for a minute.
And he did mention in, I think, episode 3 of, like extending life to where you're basically immortal. And he's the
Yeah,
one
with
that
that
gets taught that,
Darth
right?
Plagueis story.
So
Yeah, no, he's the one who said he learned that because he was stealing the life force from people to continue surviving.
yeah.
He learned that from Plagueis. Plagueis is the one who Plagueis was actually the most powerful Sith ever, and he
when
learned
did
that
Plagueis
from
die?
him. Huh?
Is it confirmed that Plagueis has died? Like,
Yes.
Okay.
Because Palpatine talks about that he like when Palpatine is telling Anakin about Darth Plagueis and how powerful he was talking about how Plagueis' Padawan was eager to learn all of his ways, and after he had learned all of these force maneuvers that Plagueis knew, he killed him, basically giving a telling of his own life to Anakin without being first person.
oh yeah, I get that, but what I'm saying is that he's been alive since Darth Plagueis, I'm guessing I don't know the correct pronunciation, and he was still alive a little bit even before that. So this man has been around for a good amount of time.
According to Screen Rant, they're saying that he was born in 84 BBY. Phantom
Before
Menace.
Battle of Yavin.
Yep. Yeah. Phantom Menace is set in 32 BBY. So I guess before before the Battle of Yavin. So yeah. So they're saying by the end of the prequels, he's 65. It's a 19-year gap between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So he'd be 84. So by the end of
So
that
he's over 100
trilogy,
years old.
88. And for the new ones, they're saying 119.
Ew.
That's insane.
I mean, good on him for being able to clap cheeks at the 119, but God, I don't want to.
Good on him for throwing peen at the age of 90, bro. What are you talking about? Like,
They got that space age Viagra. God damn.
dude's casting the force and his penis just grows 2 sizes, and he's like, yes, feel
Yeah,
the
baby,
power.
take this crispy dick. God,
Ew.
hate anything about this. Move on to the next point. I'm done with this. Just for that fact alone, it should be Youngling. God damn.
Now I think The Rise of Skywalker has a lot of redeeming qualities to it. I do. I really enjoyed seeing that they finally introduced light speed skipping. Like that was cool. Dropping in and out of light speed through with the Millennium Falcon and such. I really liked how they introduced Exegol, even though Exegol should have been introduced well before that. Because for those of you out there who don't know, which is totally fine, Exegol is the Sith planet, like the original Sith planet. And ironically enough, if you look in Solo, the same path that they had to take when they were navigating through that red fiery tunnel looking area is the same path that they had to take to get to Exegol. So we saw it once before and it's still there. I think the overall movie was fantastic. I enjoyed watching it a lot. And I also love that they finally kind of let Rey just come unglued, like let her go through her story. Which I'm going to say this as a side note, real world aspect of it all. I wish Abrams had directed all three. If Rian Johnson hadn't directed the second one and it was J.J. Abrams all the way through, I think we would have had a much more decisive, concise continuity to the whole thing. Instead of having one movie that tells a lot of story, one movie that tells basically like 5 hours, and then another movie that tells a whole lot of story. I think there would have been a lot more continuity, but the transitions with like the lightsaber where you see her and she like sticks the lightsaber behind her back, and then Ben pulls it out and he's just like, all right, let's go. I loved that scene, by the way, where he was getting his ass kicked by the Knights of Ren, and then he pulls the lightsaber out and he looks at him, he's like, all right, let's go. Like that was a dope scene because he's like, I'm about to kill you. Like, this is what's up. And just lays waste. Like, that was dope. Also, we can't forget, quite possibly the most iconic scene in the entire movie. When Palpatine finally gets his power back and we just see him look up to the sky and just like, and he shoots that lightning out of his hands and just literally fries every ship in the sky. Like, we had never seen that before, and that was legendary. Absolutely legendary. I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it was a movie.
Sam, let's start with you here.
I went and saw it in theaters with some friends, and I fell asleep halfway through. Then woke up to the final fight scenes and stuff like that. So I had to go back and rewatch it.
Okay. Sam.
Yeah,
give your thoughts and your placement, sir.
Like I said, I liked Mecha Palpatine. That scene in particular is kind of what I was alluding to. I mean, it was good. I would definitely would not give it Grandmaster or Council. I would probably put it on Master, personally.
Anderson?
I would probably put it in Knight or Padawan. I didn't get this movie. Especially the whole confusion shit with Rey almost dying, and then Kylo was dying. Then he comes back and he's like, I give you my life force, and then he dies, and then she comes back and she's like, all right, fuck you, then, and walks off. I was just like, the fuck is this shit?
What are you talking about?
Then they do the whole life swapping energy forces or something at the end.
Oh, you're talking about how basically she was about to die and Ben gave his life force to her, knowing a couple things. One, he wanted to be with his family again, and two, she needed to carry on the Jedi legacy.
Yeah, that. Which also, for a guy that spent his whole time hating his family, then suddenly turns around in one movie and wants to be with them, I'm just kind of like, okay.
But did you enjoy Return of the Jedi?
I mean, once again, I conceded to that one, but yeah, I guess.
Where would okay? So think of Return of the Jedi for a second. Where would you have put that?
Probably Master.
For the same concept, though, Vader did the exact same thing.
Okay, that's good for the concept, but I'm not just talking about the concept, I'm talking about the whole entire movie.
I know, but I'm talking about for that specific section you're talking about. it's the same concept. It's he turned to the light, realizing there was more to his life, to his legacy than just his power and his control. That's the whole scene where he is talking to Han, and he's basically like, I don't know what to do here, and he launches his lightsaber into the water, and shows up later on in just basically his space gi, if you will, his outfit, without all the armor and such of Kylo Ren, and becomes Ben Solo. Like he at that moment made the decision to turn his heart back to the light because, as Rey had alluded to in the other movies, she knew that there was light still in him, and her whole goal was to bring that light out of him, and she actually did that, ironically enough, by kicking his ass.
I mean, okay,
Like-
but I'm pretty sure Vader didn't swap life forces with Luke.
I mean, he didn't have to. Well, kind of, if you think about it, because Luke was fried, bro. Luke was getting fried by Palpatine, and Vader was the one who picked him up and threw him over, and basically gave the rest of his life to Luke for Luke to get off the ship. Because how would Luke have gotten off that ship? Luke was literally a burnt hot dog at one point. Like he was just laying there smoking from how he was getting fried. So like,
yeah, I feel like that's reaching.
You're a little bit, but I see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I can see it, but like, I don't know about that one. I mean, I can see your point on that concept. If that's the case, then I think both are dumb for doing that. Yeah, I'd say Knight or Padawan for Rise of Skywalker.
well, we're gonna have to turn it over to the jury again because I was gonna say council member.
Could we concede Master?
Yeah, I can concede Master. I mean, I would definitely, looking at it from the standpoint of how often would I watch Episode 2, how often would I watch The Force Awakens, and how often would I watch The Rise of Skywalker, I would definitely say The Rise of Skywalker has a much higher replayability, but I can concede that.
Yeah, so I know that's kind of reaching for you, but just trying
I mean,
to.
whatever. At this point, I'm done with this list.
So we can throw it in Master then.
Yeah, I just put it in there.
Cool.
And that's his
There
hit.
it be.
It is done.
It is done.
Yeah, okay, let's wrap it up.
Stop watching.
Terrible. I want. What?
I was just saying, stop watching the stream. Like,
Yeah,
your
there you
stream.
go.
Yeah.
Well, there is our lovely, lovely list for all of you out there. If you are watching in YouTube world, let us know in the comments what you think, because I'm sure a lot of you are going to disagree with what we have said. Is there any closing remarks out there in Twitch land that Chad has said thus far?
Negative.
All right. Well, with that being said, it's time to wrap this show up. Send this pony on out to pasture. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm a Star Wars stand through and through. I love this stuff. So, definitely could come back and touch on this later on if we ever wanted to, but especially when Obi-Wan drops, we got to talk about that. But let us know what you think. YouTube, down in the comments. Again, I'm sure some of you will disagree. Some of you may agree. Who knows? But that's the beauty of it. Let us know what you think. Drop this video a like. Again, if you like this kind of content, if you'd like to see more tier lists like this in the future, if there are certain ones you'd like us to do, let us know. If it's something that we think would be doable for sure with all three of us, because that's something that all three of us have to actually know about. Let us know. And then of course hit the subscribe button, the bell icon to stay up to date on all things TGB. Gentlemen, do you have anything you'd like to say before we roll?
I love Star Wars. If you couldn't tell.
Goodbye.
Well, go ahead and drop an F in the comments for Anderson. But we're out of here. We will catch you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.